Good morning, everybody. That New Age music was not played by an orchestra, it was actually played by our drummer, McClusky. There's one person out there.
Thank you so much, Rich McClusky and James Brough on piano. It's been a while that we got to have our piano be played. Is it fun? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown live broadcast on Facebook and on YouTube. Good afternoon and good evening for those of you who are somewhere else in the land, in the world, or watching this broadcast at a later time because it will be available forever. So we're celebrating a theme in our spiritual communities, Centers for Spiritual Living, this year, which is 2020 Vision. And for November, it's Living as Compassionate Conduits. The assisting practitioner today and assisting with this live broadcast is Theo Tilton, and we're blessed to have him with us. We're grateful Michael Malik is here, and we're just having a party over here. So today what I want to talk about is that there is a lot of change in the air. You can probably feel it no matter where you are. And whenever there is change, we are called more than ever to rise up in truth with a capital T. And then to live that truth because we each experience it in a unique way. So we each get to live it in a unique way. So it's a way to uniquely demonstrate spiritual principle, and that takes a lifetime. So it's not about doing it perfectly or imperfectly or judging anyone else from doing it perfectly or imperfectly, but knowing that it's our life journey. So my name is Frankie Timmers, and I'm the spiritual director here at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. And we want you to take a look at our website because there's all kinds of things happening and new stuff happening all the time. I'm working on a really great class for the December into next year. Great holiday gift to yourself or another. And we have a blog by Michael Malik that is going to be posted or has already been posted. And there's an opportunity for you to give. I know for myself, when I receive, I like to circulate, so I pass it on, and there's a way to give on our website. We want you to reach out to our practitioners because they are there to help you stand in the truth and stay there. So if you are on YouTube, you can do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You can make comments, but if you're on Facebook Live, let us know you're here. Use the bubbles, start a watch party, share our pages, say hello, ask us some questions, or maybe give us some topics you'd like us to speak about in the future. We just want to know that you're there. So today, the topic is, it's all given. It's all already given. On Tuesday, right in this space, we held a vigil for the elections. To be peaceful, to be fair, to be honest, and to facilitate a change in the country and the world that is for everyone. And it was incredibly powerful and incredibly peaceful to be in this room with others coming and going. We had no more than 5 people in the room at once. To treat, affirmatively pray, and hold that vision. And then the next few days, it seemed like it was incredibly stressful to be in the world. But then we began to feel that there is definitely a great awakening happening. All the fear about violence and problems and issues never happened. And the beauty is that more than ever, our people went out to vote. I am not here to say sides or speak of sides or say who's who or what's what, because I truly practice standing as grounded in principle as I possibly can. Because I know it's not always about the person who's voted for. It's about the structure in which that happens. And we already know that we live in a structure where a lot of ugliness in this country has risen to the surface and must be dealt with in order for change to support everyone as equals. And so there's a lot of change in the air. I'm sure you can feel it. Many people have said to me since the election was determined, I can breathe again. Well, breathe deeply and slowly and make it a spiritual practice, because this is just the beginning of a new time, a new way to be together. It's been an emotional roller coaster for many, with fear and stress and heartache and anger and pointing fingers, blaming and grief and hate and thinking that I'm right, no, you're right, no, they're right. And so we're very much in a place of being divided. But what we know with spiritual principle is that the outer division is a reflection of our inner division. And I've been talking about that all month. And so there is a lot of missing, there's a missing of the joy has been missing, right? The magic seems to have been missing. And now we can cultivate that again. And we have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And I think we all know that. So I want to acknowledge that so many people in the world, in this country, are so exhausted and so stressed out from racism, from the pandemic of COVID, from the elections and whatever else is happening, the climate crisis. One of the things I know for sure is that the more we lose a connection with the divine presence within us, the more stressed out we're going to be. When we're stressed out, when we're in pain, when we're struggling, it just means that we've lost our joy. We've lost our connection with the sacred. We lost our connection with life itself, with the divine. I love what the Belgian therapist Esther Perel says. She says, stress is a byproduct of change. Stress is just a byproduct of change. And change always challenges our illusion of control. So maybe the emotional roller coaster is that sense of loss of control, because we only have the moment. COVID has taught us that. And so we might be looking for a fix or a magic bullet on the outside, or think that now the elections are over, I can breathe. No, that is simply a feeling of what's missing for us. And we know in our teaching that when we feel something is missing out there, is because something is disconnected within us. So if we are experiencing lack in any form out here, is because the form of lack already is happening within our own consciousness. And we know that we live in a universe that only knows absolute abundance, that all is already given. So if I feel that something is missing in me or in my life, it's showing my disconnect with the universal abundance. And the beauty right now, what's happening in the world is, those of us on the spiritual path, we must reach for the spiritual principles. And not just reach for the spiritual principles, but practice them and live them to the best of our ability, knowing that we will stumble and fall. So we have to think about, where do I experience lack? And I know for myself that, and many others, because in these 30-some years of being a spiritual director and a student of the Science of Mind teaching, that there is a common thread amongst us as human beings. Kind of comes with the experience, the incarnation of being in a human body, right? Is that many of us experience this idea that we're not enough, or we're not good enough, or smart enough, or beautiful enough, or young enough, or old enough, or rich enough. That feeling we must unpack. We must dissolve it with the truth So that means that we have to think about and reconcile that idea. Whenever I feel not good enough or not blank enough, I'm sending a message to the universe, I'm not enough, and universal law directly responds and gives me the experience. So the experience always tells me what it is that I believe, and once I know what it is that I believe in a limited way, I know where to go, to principle, to shift my belief system, to know that the law is what fulfills the greater seeking, the greater desire, the greater need. So that's just a reflection of what wants to be healed. Once we know and feel something is missing, it is just the universe saying to us, it's time for a healing, which is spirit revealing itself. That healing must happen within. And as it happens within, it happens on the outer plane. So when we look at the world, or maybe more specifically, when we look at the United States of America and everything that's happening, it is just showing us what wants to be healed within ourselves. Whether that is the idea of not having enough, whether that is the sense of division, which is probably the umbrella belief of lack that it's showing itself. Whether we feel that we're destroying the planet, whether we feel that there is nothing but equality happening amongst all peoples of color. And so we begin to look inside and what wants to be healed. So the question then is, what am I seeking? What am I seeking? Knowing, I love what Rumi says, what you're seeking is seeking you. But knowing that there is a place within us that already has found. That's the true essence of who we are, and we get to be honest with that. Knowing that we can go within and call upon the truth and live that, but do it in a gentle way, because I know the moment we beat ourselves up, we create a whole other cycle of division, right? I want to read to you a little bit of a longer piece from the Science of Mind magazine, because it's so powerful. It really speaks to what we're exploring today. It is the daily reading by Jeff Seeley, who's just a wonderful writer, and it was written on November 3rd in the Science of Mind magazine. And you might recognize yourself in this. Many people eagerly buy a book, hopeful that the words contained within will strike a chord in such a way that will miraculously reveal a greater part of themselves. I know I have done this, he says. Many hang on to every word uttered by a pastor, spiritual leader, or a business mogul, in the hopes that those words will shift their minds and open a doorway of prosperity and opportunity. I too have done this. As I look at all the books sitting on my shelves, those I've read and those begging to be opened, I reflect. As I open and scan notebooks filled with notes from Sunday services, conferences, and seminars I've attended, I breathe deeply. What am I looking for? What are you looking for? If we cannot answer this question, then we are like a boat in the middle of the ocean with no direction. We are at the mercy of external factors like the wind and the waves waiting to wash upon the shore. These books and messages are important in our unfoldment and can act as lampposts along the path. However, regardless of how many we've read or how much we've listened to, there is something elusive, something that cannot be grasped. On my journey, I reach a fork in the road that caused me to ask this question: what am I seeking? And with that question, the seeker is found. For what I was seeking is the seeker within that empowers me to seek. What if that which I am seeking is already found within? But because I'm looking outside, I cannot see and feel it inside. So we are asked to have more stillness, to have more quiet time, to have more reflection time, to turn within to that infinite source of truth and light and love and peace and wisdom and joy in each of us, because we are unique individualizations of the one. to express it in the world, to live it in the places that maybe are more difficult to live in, because when it's easy, it's just easy. And to demonstrate that in our own unique way, then the work is a blessing and a gift to all. It's just that the truth always wants to be lived, and the way it urges us can sometimes be very interesting. So we have some music now with James and Rich, and then you're going to hear from Theo a little bit, and then I'll be back for just a moment as we close.
When I was a boy each week, Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is folding now. Everything is holding now. And when I was in Sunday school, you learn about the time Moses set the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Water is not so small, but even that magic trick, is there anything that's here at all? So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but find them where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, having second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk with a river in there. Everything's holding now. Questioning giants' faith, say it's not a testament, can be very hard to say. See another new morning come, to say it's not a sacrament, I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. Made me want to bow my head I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holding out. It used to be a world half there, and second rate banded down. But I'm walking with a reverend there, 'cause everything's gold now.
Thanks, guys. Amazing, amazing. So my name is Theo Tilton. I'm a licensed practitioner here at Centers for Spiritual Living, and I'm going to be sharing a story with you today in this whole idea, this topic of it is already given. And what I'm going to speak to first is about trust and faith. And I'm going to give you an example, a metaphor example. So I want you to think about a chair. And so when you're looking at a chair, there is something that's inside of you that has a belief. There is a faith. And that faith is in the laws of gravity, whether you think about it or not. There is something invisible. And that's the definition of faith, is that there's a belief in something that is completely invisible. There is absolutely nothing there to show you that it actually exists, but you believe in it. And so we know that when we drop something, it falls to the ground, similar to your body, right? If you were to sit down in a chair, you start to fall to the ground. But then when you sit on a chair, there is a faith that it's going to just support you, right? So there's faith involved in that invisible law. There's a physics law. The forces that are pushing up through the chair and the forces of gravity pulling you down to the chair equal out, and you're able to stabilize and stay on the chair. That is faith. Trust sometimes is collapsed with this idea of faith. We think it's really the same thing, but it's not. Trust is the process that we believe was used to create the chair, that we trust the carpenter, we trust the wood, we trust the nails and the screws, we trust that its assembly, the way it works, the way that the chair has been given, is going to be exactly what we want as the outcome. I'm going to be supported on the chair and not fall to the ground. Now, there's sometimes that you may have seen somebody who have collapsed in a chair, and they may not necessarily trust chairs anymore. All of a sudden, chairs become they're not trustworthy. They still have faith in the law of gravity, because they know that the chair they don't have trust in the chair, so they will fall to the ground. Well, I want to share, how does this all wrap up into it's already given? And so I recently had an experience with an automobile. So I've been driving a Mini Cooper for 10 years, and and I love the car. And for the large majority of the last 20 years, I've been driving a convertible. Right, so I've had a great experience, automobile experience, and the past 6 months, I've been saying to myself, this car's it's 10 years old. It's approaching 100,000 miles. I need a new car at some point. And with the pandemic and things that are going on with income and flow and all, I was in this state of how am I going to afford a brand new car? Given my budget right now, I don't know if I can do that, but I know I need one. You know what? I have a faith that it's going to happen when it happens, and I trust that everything that is needed to be orchestrated will actually unfold exactly the way that it's supposed to. And I won't have to worry about a thing. Sure enough, about a month ago, I hit a deer going 65 miles an hour on 287 North here in New Jersey near Morristown. Now, it was already on the road. It was already a carcass, so I did not kill the deer. It was already dead. Now, for those of you that, are concerned about that, and I'm okay. I'm here. I'm fine. Everything is fine. However, the car was totaled. And so I had just enough power and energy in that car to literally drive it another 2 miles down the road and bring it to the Mini Cooper dealer that I bought it to. And would you believe that it stalled and died right in their parking lot? And then when they assessed it 2 days later, they said, you should call your insurance company because your car is totaled. It's going to be more money to fix the car than the car is worth. And so all of a sudden, I was put into a state of like a microsecond of panic and fear. I need to get a new car. And then I was like, no, be okay. All of a sudden, that insurance check came in. All of a sudden, I found myself creating a list of what I wanted in a car. I want it to be reliable. I want it to be strong. I want it to be safe and protective. I want it to be utility. And let me search for all those things. And the first thing that popped up was a Volvo. And I was like, okay, that's the car I want. And I saw the price tag and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to afford that. All of a sudden, the orchestration has occurred in such a way that the check came in, I used that money. Then I said, oh, I need to have a payment plan of this amount. And I don't know how I'm going to budget that into my life. How am I going to budget this extra money into my life right now? And I just trusted that it would work. I just trusted. I had faith that these laws of the universe that we all know, that we say are truth and principle, that they work. And I knew that there was an outcome, that I had a new car and it was paid for and I did not have to worry about how it was going to be paid for. So I signed the contract, not even knowing where I was going to get that money from. Now, I'm in the dealer, and the insurance company says, hey, by the way, the car you're looking at is $12.50 cheaper per month. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I get a call from a fitness studio. I'm a spinning instructor as well. And they said, hey, Wednesday nights at 6 p.m., can you teach every single night of the month or every single Wednesday of the month? That'll be $50 a class. That's $200. I'm like, that's interesting. $200. $212. Then there was an email chain that came out literally days later from my homeowners association that said, we're reassessing homeowners assessment fees, and we're going to reduce your payment by $45 a month. And the 200 and the 45 and the 12, before you know it, it was exactly the number of my car payment. Exactly the number. I did not have to worry about where the money was coming from. The universe completely orchestrated my entire budget exactly the way that it was, so that there's not $1 more that I'm spending per month. And now I have a brand new Volvo XC60 T6. Yay! Ta-da! So what does this have to do? It's about faith and trust. And faith and trust in that it's already given to you. When you create from your mouth your words, your thoughts create those words. And those words cause your actions and your deeds out in the world. And your deeds start to build up into habits. And the habits become the character that you are in your life. So if you are experiencing an outcome right now that you don't necessarily like or you don't resonate with, just start to look backwards. Well, what are my habits? What are my actions? What am I saying? What are the thoughts that I'm having? And allow yourself to just completely be in a space where you're open and you have faith and trust that if you start to change your thoughts, change your thinking, you can change your life. Just like Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. And so with that, there's an opportunity to go into this whole idea of change your thinking, change your life, specifically with regards to full spectrum wealth. I am teaching a class right now called Prosperity Plus 3. This is the work of Mary Morrissey, and I'm I'm a certified life mastery consultant as well. I'm certified to teach all of her courses. And so on Monday nights at 7 p.m., I'll be teaching Prosperity Plus 3. There's one more opportunity to register for that course. So if you want to look and dive into this area of change your thinking and change your life and your experience in every area, love and relationships, health and well-being, your vocation, and your time and money freedom. How much of us can use more time and money freedom? Yes. So with that, all you have to do is email the center at office@cslmorristown.org. That's office@cslmorristown.org. Let us know you'd like to register, and you have until tomorrow, which is Monday at 12 noon, to let us know that you'd like to be registered, and the class is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. All right, I'm going to close us out with a treatment. Can I get some background on something? Sure. Awesome. Thank you so much. How amazing it is to be in a space and a knowingness that there is life breathing you, loving you, creating you, supporting you, nurturing you, loving you so much that it just gives. That living, loving law that just says yes, completely non-biased, non-judgmental, it just delivers. It's already always given from this law. And I know this truth, not just for myself, but for every single person, every single thing, across all groups. Not just for the members of CSL Morristown, but for everyone. This truth exists throughout all of humanity. I am one with it, and so are you. This is such a beautiful community that is constantly expanding and growing and teaching and allowing that space to be present for these truths, these principles to unfold in our lives in miraculous ways. And so it's from a place of gratitude for everything, for the musicians, for Reverend Frankie, for the technology, for Mike, for myself, for all of our families that made it all possible for us to be here and to share these words. Thank you. So it's with a heart overflowing with that gratitude now that I release it over to this law that says yes. And knowing, just knowing with faith and trust that it is done. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. I trust that each of you witnessing this broadcast are able to really receive the message, the blessings, the music, the opportunity to connect with one another, even though it's not in person, and that you know that you are so loved and that we hold you in our hearts and know the highest and best for you. So know that all is given. So let yourself receive. Thank you so much for joining us. We have, for those of you that haven't read your emails and you're on our email list, we have no social hour today. We have a town hall meeting. We'll have another one Tuesday night. And if you'd like to be on our mailing list, let us know. Again, office@cslmorristown.org, or check out our website, www.cslmorristown.org. And we are blessing you. We're blessing each other. Thank you, Rich, James, Theo, Michael, and myself. So it is.
So it
I'm rising on up, getting out of this place. 'Cause I know I will